A key question for the McCain-Palin campaign today. Does Governor Palin really believe John McCain would be a good commander-in-chief? And if so, why is she already disobeying his commands? Our fourth story tonight, based on multiple reports from multiple sources, Sarah Palin is a rogue GOP elephant. The first trickle of reports last week of tension, of disloyalty, turned into a flood over the weekend. Saturday, Politico.com, quoting 4 sources close to Palin, saying she has decided to reject McCain's strategy and, quote, go rogue, specifically ignoring mandates from Team McCain, from Chief McCain strategist Steve Schmidt and fellow Bush veteran Nicole Wallace, one of the lead McCain people on Palin's team. 24 hours after that report, Governor Palin did little to dispute it. Less than 1 minute into a rally in Florida, Palin not only defied the campaign mandate, not to mention that whole $150,000 in clothing money for the Palin family, she also revealed whose advice she was now following instead.
This whole thing with the wardrobe, I've tried to just ignore it because it's so ridiculous, but I'm glad now that Elizabeth brought it up because it gives me an opportunity without the filter of the media to get to tell you the whole clothes thing. You'd think not that I would even have to address the issue because, as Elizabeth is suggesting, the double standard here, we don't even want to waste our time. I'm glad, though, that she brought up accessories also. But enough about clothes and hairdos and high heels, though I would say when I heard Elizabeth speaking, she is one to take the gloves off when the heels are on. That's Elizabeth.
Who is this Elizabeth, whose counsel has eclipsed that of McCain's most trusted advisors? She's Elizabeth Hasselbeck, who became co-host of The View after finishing 4th on Survivor the Australian Outback. CNN today quoting an unnamed McCain advisor saying that Palin's Hasselbeckian comments, quote, were not the remarks we sent to her plane. Quoting another, and I can't stress this enough, McCain advisor, quote, she, Palin, quote, is a diva. She takes no advice from anyone. Hasselbeck. She is playing for her own future and sees herself as the next leader of the party. Remember, divas trust only unto themselves. Let's turn now to Chris Hayes, Washington editor for The Nation magazine and specialist in political divas. Thank you for your time tonight, Chris.
Well, thank you, Keith.
To whatever extent it's true that the Obama camp is acting as if there's already a win in the bag, is not the message of infighting from the McCain camp that the McCain campaign, particularly Governor Palin, they're acting as if they have already got a loss in the bag?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we're seeing is the breakdown of discipline that's really quite staggering, actually. I mean, you always got to be a little careful about stories that are naming on, that come with blind quotes and unnamed sources. But a lot of the reporting that was done over the weekend is done by people I really trust. And at this point, it's pretty clear that there is an all-out civil war between the 2 principal members of the ticket and their staffs. And already it seems like the main political fight that's happening internally in the campaign is people's political fight to save their jobs and to save their reputations, most importantly, and their livelihoods once this campaign is over.
The Politico report included this observation that Palin would like to go even, quote, more rogue. And again, we're saying rogue and not rove, although the two things might be similar. But given the results so far, what else could she do between now and next Tuesday to help the Democrats more than going more rogue right now?
Well, I have honestly no idea, although I will say that going more rogue is definitely my favorite phrase thus far of the entire campaign season. I mean, what she did today was actually, I thought, pretty shocking in terms of the rally clip that you played earlier. At this point, I can't imagine. Look, her negative approval ratings and her unfavorables are so high that I think she's probably bottomed out in a certain sense. I think the people that are going to like her, the people who aren't going to like her, aren't going to like her. And I can't imagine that her going more rogue or, divaing it up down the stretch is going to make a huge difference one way or the other.
Except for this, I mean, the McCain aides who are then returning fire here, or taking shots off the record, and maybe by the end of the week they'll be on the record at Palin. Are they not essentially, these shots, are they not also boomerangs in that any critique of her reflects still on McCain? Because after all, McCain chose her. It's not like she was already there when he got the nomination.
Absolutely. It's tremendously selfish and stupid to give these blind quotes that they're giving. I mean, it's really remarkable. Look, there's a week left in the campaign, and you're exactly right. I mean, John McCain, and let's remember, as we know from the Draper story in the New York Times Magazine over the weekend, and his staff were behind the Palin pick. So they cannot, there is no one to blame but themselves when this is all sort of computed in the final analysis.
The American Spectator reported today that the anti-Palin stuff is in fact coming from those who transferred out of the Mitt Romney campaign into the McCain overall GOP effort, hoping to knock her down so that Romney would have a comparatively clear path, I suppose, or at least an easier path in 2012. But if that is true, does it not also suggest, A, that McCain's staff, again, already is assuming this election is over and McCain is done, and B, that a violation of the Reagan 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of a fellow Republican, by itself just suggests that what's ahead for the Republican Party, unless there is a victory next Tuesday, is a serious and long-term fracture?
I think that's exactly what it represents. I mean, I will admit to some schadenfreude as I watch this spectacle ensue, but the breakdown in discipline from a party that has been, if nothing, ruthlessly disciplined and united often over the last 8 years is really something to see. And it's often the case that an army in retreat loses discipline. And so it's not surprising that this is what we're seeing. What is surprising is that we're seeing it before Election Day even happens.
Chris Hayes, the Washington editor for The Nation. More rogue is the phrase. Many thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Keith.